Hey guys, I'm Nick Taylor and welcome to my first ever episode of Kitchen Evolution. So either you're watching this with me for the first ever time, or I've got like 8 billion subscribers and in one of my episodes I'm like, go back and check out the first episode, it was total shit. So whichever one. So my whole intention with this channel, and I'm so excited about this channel, is to incorporate 3 things that I absolutely love and value the most in my own life. And those 3 things are vegan food, humor, and personal growth and personal development. And now I'm kind of thinking like, why did I pick humor? Because I'm not even really that funny. So as the episodes go on, I'm going to be talking about personal growth. I'm going to be adding a positive and happy and funny spin to everything that I do while I go through and make some delicious fucking vegan food. Just a little bit of background about myself, and one of the reasons why I've just kind of come down the path to making this channel. When I was literally like 2 years old, I decided I want to become a I want to become a pilot. I became a pilot at the age of 18, I flew for a few years, and I reached this point in my life where I was like, is this fucking it? Like, is this what life is meant to be like? And I think a lot of people get to that point, and I'm just so grateful and proud of myself that I made the action towards actually doing something about it, because I think a lot of people reach that and they're just like, fuck it, whatever, it's just the way it is. Through the last almost decade, I've been working on creating businesses, I've been resilient in building my own personal mindset. And about 3.5 years ago now, my wife and I both transitioned to veganism, and it's something that I hold absolutely dearly to myself. I think it's something that I really encourage others to look into more. And one of the reasons I started this channel around vegan cooking is because I want to create or get rid of the stigma that vegan food is boring, that it's not nutritious, that you can't get enough protein. Another fucking person asked me where I get my protein from, I swear to God. And so for my first recipe, I'm gonna bring you guys a delicious fucking Thai soup called Tom Kha. This is one of my favorite ever recipes. It's so easy, and I know you guys are gonna love it. So the ingredients that you guys are gonna need for this recipe are a little bit interesting, but you should have no trouble finding them at any Asian supermarket. If you don't know where an Asian supermarket is, like just go on Google Maps, search Asian supermarket, be an adult, and if there's nothing in your area, like you don't have an Asian grocery in your city or your town, like honestly just move somewhere good. So the things that you need for this recipe are about 12 kaffir lime leaves. You can get these either frozen or fresh. I have some frozen ones here, they smell fucking bomb. You want some galangal root, which is kind of like a Thai ginger. You want about a thumb-sized piece, and you know me, I have a pretty big thumb. About 2 or 3 spicy Thai chilies. They are pretty hot, so if you're not too good with spice, maybe on the lower end of that. You want some bean sprouts. These things are fucking bomb. You want about half a dozen mushrooms. You want a couple of tomatoes. Enough veggie stock to make about 1 litre worth of broth. You want a nice little lime. Sweet onion. I don't know what the fuck you guys call this. I call it a... What do I call it? I call it a capsicum. Or a red pepper. Or a paprika. People call it different shit. Just this thing. You want about 3 long stems of lemongrass. If you can't get lemongrass like this, you can get it frozen. But honestly, if you want the dankest Tom Kha you've ever had, get the fresh shit. You want about 1 litre of coconut cream. And a big block of one of my favorite vegan protein sources, tofu. You're also gonna want a knife, a spoony spoon, and one of these bad boys. Oh, what the fuck am I doing? I think one of the coolest things to me about veganism is before my wife and I transitioned to becoming vegan, I'd really eaten a pretty bland diet. Like I thought I had so much variety within my diet, but really looking back, I ate like sausages, meat, potatoes, salads, you know, lots of chicken, lots of eggs, but not a real lot of actual like impressive variety. After we went vegan, I have literally spent the last 3.5 years figuring out what tastes good, how things come together, and I actually became a pretty decent chef in the process. But I think the coolest thing about it all is that once you become vegan, or once you become more open-minded to eating plant-based, you discover this whole fucking world of ingredients, of vegetables, of foods that you had no idea even existed. And it's both a challenge, but also something that is actually so much fun in discovering how these flavors, these things, these foods come together to make the most delicious food you've ever eaten. So one of the things I want to do for you guys as this channel progresses is actually bring you foods and some of the meals that I've created or evolved myself that actually make people who eat a more standard diet go, holy shit, this is actually fucking good. So the first thing we're going to do with the tom kha is actually create a broth from these 4 ingredients that don't actually end up being in the final product. The reason being is it creates such a strong flavor, but the actual things don't end up being that nice to eat. You know, the leaves stay quite leafy, the lemongrass doesn't break down a lot, the galangal root ends up having the texture of like whole pieces of ginger. So straining them out after about 30 minutes to 40 minutes of creating a broth leaves you this delicious, delicious flavor that we can then move on from and create our final product. One little tip I did want to give you guys, and this is something I learned when I worked in a commercial kitchen for a while, was I used to always hold a knife like it was like a bat or something like that. How you actually want to hold the knife, especially larger knives with thicker blades like this, is by holding the actual blade of the knife between your finger and thumb, and then having the rest of your finger curl back here. It gives you so much more control of the knife. Like it literally changed how well I was able to cut stuff when I learned that. So the first thing we're going to do is just cut the ends off the lemongrass. It's really tough, so just be careful. And you're just going to discard that. You're going to flip them around, and where you see the lemongrass start to split into more, you know, grassy strands, you're also just going to chop it off there and discard that. Now you're left with these nice thick stems, and honestly, like, it smells so fucking good. You're just going to cut these into, I don't know, random, how many fucking units is that? And once you've done that, you're actually going to bang them a little bit with the end of your knife just to release some of the juices.
They was banging on the west, I was banging on the east. They was banging in the jails, I was banging in the streets. Homeless went to jail, I was banging in the streets. Camps not the deal, start banging on the beach like.
So once you've cut the lemongrass up, and honestly it smells so good, you're just going to chuck that into your pot. Galangal root. You just want to slice it into just kind of random little thick bits. Now these are going to boil for, like I said, about 30 to 40 minutes in the initial broth. So it's going to get a lot of the actual flavor out of them, so they don't need to be too small. Same thing in the pot. The chilies, you don't need to do too much with them. What I usually like to do is just cut off the green stems and then slice them lengthways. They don't have to be in half, but just so that they open up. Do not rub your eyes, or as I have done before, touch your man bits until you've washed your hands, because this shit is actually genuinely spicy. And for the kaffir lime leaves, all you're going to do is grab each leaf and just tear it in half and put it in the pot. Oh my god, it's plant abuse. You can hear them scream. If you're real big and strong, you can grab like 3 leaves at a time. So chuck your pot into a medium heat, just add a little bit of oil, maybe a tablespoon, and just give it a little bit of a stir as it begins to fry for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. It'll just start to release some of those flavors, especially of the lemongrass. So now that this stuff's been frying for a wee bit, we want to open and add our first can of coconut cream. God damn. Oh yeah. Just give that bad boy a bit of a stir. Now we just want to fill up our coconut cream can exactly to the top with water and chuck it in as well. And we want to add both of our stock cubes or stock powder, enough to make about 1 litre of broth if you were just to make it in water. Leave that on a nice medium temperature. Let it simmer away for 30 to 40 minutes.
27 hearts beat!
Kitchen evolution be the talk of the town. Eating vegan fruits and growth's about to go down. Making some tomkatsu a sour spicy fucking soup. Please subscribe to my channel cause it's gonna be a hoot.
Now that it's done, what we want to do is we want to strain out the stuff that's in the initial broth into a larger pot because we're going to be adding more liquid. Second can of coconut cream. Fill it up with water. The other thing we want to be chucking in here now are our tomatoes and our mushrooms. So for our tomatoes, just want to take a little knife, get the old core thingy out. And then we want to slice them in half, and then into about 4 or 5 more slices, and in the pot. As this boils, the colour of the tomatoes are going to come out and you're going to see this really nice, red, rich, almost oily looking substance begin to float on the top of the soup. It is the best. And we want to take our mushrooms and just quarter them. I'm a big mushroom fan, so I always add a little bit extra. Now we want to put this bad boy back on the boil, and we want this to simmer again for about 20 or 30 minutes just to get the colours out the tomato, get those mushrooms really nice and soft and tender. And then we'll add everything else and our soup's going to be done. So one of the reasons I wanted to incorporate a bit of mindset and personal development into these cooking videos is because through my experiences, through the people I've met, life really comes down to your mindset. Like the quality of your life is literally related precisely to the quality of your mindset. And for so many years, I was just in this lost place, like not really knowing what I wanted to do. You know, I said I wanted to become a pilot, I did that. And then after a few years, I found myself questioning, like, is this all life is really meant to be about? And I just have such a passion and such a desire to really help people rediscover who they are, like rediscover who they've been all along before society got on us, before our parents conditioned us to believe in certain things, social media, whatever it is. You are meant to be someone. And I just have such a purpose and such a calling for helping people discover that for themselves. Because I think once you discover who you're supposed to be all along, you can then start to build off, you know, what do I want to do with my life? Who do I want to become? How do I want to impact the world? And I think these sorts of questions are really what get people thinking about the type of life they want to live. Because guys, like the truth of the matter is, we have one fucking shot at this life. Like one. We don't get a restart, it's not click, we don't have a remote, we can't go back, we can't change anything. The only thing we can do really is take 100% accountability for not just the actions we take in life, but for everything. Like the mindset that we have, the people who we choose to surround ourselves with, the results that we get when we take accountability and then when we take action on our inspirations. life just becomes so much fucking better. And I want that for you guys so dearly. So while I get to cook delicious fucking food, I get to go and eat it after, I also get to share about some of the things I'm most passionate about. And while this is more of an introductory episode, I am so excited for the future of this channel, to be able to share some of the things I've learned on my journey that I just know are going to impact you guys' lives so much. And in between the cooking, in between the cutting, in between the silly shit I'm going to do, it's an absolute passion of mine to be able to share a bit of mindset and personal development with you guys. So if you're interested, you can continue listening. If you're not, to be honest, I kind of feel sorry for you, but that's cool. This legit smells so good and I'm so hungry. So, our last things are our tofu, our onion, and our capsicum, pepper, whatever the fuck. Right at the end, we'll squeeze a whole lemon into it, and we'll also use mung beans for garnish. So you want to use a whole block of firm tofu. This one is 420 grams. So you just want to get the water out and then chop it up. Look at that bad boy. This is something that is vegan and also contains protein. I know you don't believe me, but it does. Just trust me. So you guys just want to cut it into some equal sized cubes. We're just going to chuck it in the soupy soup. I like having them, no, that big. They just absorb a decent amount of the flavour, and that's honestly, it is really good protein content. I think the thing with tofu is if you think tofu is gross, you're probably either really shit at cooking or just have never had it good, because people are like, oh, tofu tastes like whatever. I've heard people call tofu like one step away from plastic or some shit. I don't know where they got that idea, because tofu is legit just ground beans with water. They boil them, you take away the like residual stuff, you add magnesium chloride and it like curdles, and then you take the curds away. It's like not this, I don't know, people are stupid. The other thing we want is probably half of a red pepper. The crazy thing about Canada is they fucking put all stickers on all the, like, why do you need a sticker on this? Leave your stickers at home. And with a lot of Asian recipes actually, you want to keep relatively consistent large sizes of the veggies because it's just delicious. Again, this is just to add some color, some flavor, and you want to put it in relatively close to you eating the soup, because otherwise it'll go too mushy, and no one likes mushy capsicum. Onion, same thing. You probably want about half of the onion. Remove the skin. And you want to keep these big parts. Probably not that big, but you know, some decent chunks of onion. And they add up to be just this nice crunchy, like onion when it's in this is super nice and sweet. I'd probably add a bit more, but some people don't like a lot of onion. My wife being one of them, so I'm just going to put that in for now. Let that boil for another maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just so that the pepper, the onion, the tofu gets really hot, and that's pretty much the end of it. And we're on to the last part. Get your dank lime. Fresh is better, but you can also buy those little containers things of lime juice, which isn't as good, but it'll do the trick. If you can't find limes, or they're like $40 million like they are in New Zealand, and all you want to do, cut your lime in half, and you literally just squeeze the entire lime. Oh man, this is a juicy one. Oh yeah. Sorry folks. And that gives us the sour component of our tom kha soup. I actually quite like to get some of these little, what do you call them? Little
fuck, I don't know language. The lime meat, some may call it. And after that, we are done. Now what you can do, one last little stir. Oh god, that smells so good. So I'd recommend actually having rice vermicelli. I think I have some, you know, you can just put it in some hot water for a couple of minutes until it starts to soften, and then you can have rice vermicelli as the base. I really like mung beans as well. They're quite cool for replacement noodles, so I'm going to actually use some of those as the base. And then all we need to do is use this magical scooper, purveyor of foods. Oh man, I'm so hungry, and this smells so good. And there we have it, a delicious and healthy bowl of tom kha with tofu.
So guys, that is it for my tom kha Thai soup recipe. I am literally starving. I'm so excited to eat it. But thank you guys so much for joining me for my first ever episode of Kitchen Evolution. If you have any recipe ideas or like mainstream meals that you'd like me to veganize, let me know in the comments, send me a DM, whatever you want to do. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited for the evolution of this channel. I'm so excited for the future of this channel. I have so many really cool ideas. And this was just an introductory episode. I can't wait to dive into more mindset stuff, more personal mastery, talk about all sorts of topics that I absolutely love. All the while trying, keyword trying, to keep you guys laughing. So I hope you love this recipe. I hope you love the episode. Please subscribe, share. I would be absolutely honored if you could do that. And I'll see you guys soon on Kitchen Evolution.
27 hearts beat.
Kitchen evolution, be the talk of the